The sun rises low over the city, casting long shadows along cracked sidewalks. A quiet hum of morning traffic fills the air, but in a modest apartment on the outskirts, the world feels quieter. The single dad, Michael, stands by a small stove, frying eggs with practiced ease. His movements are quick, but tired, each one a choreographed dance he's been perfecting for years. He's tall, broad-shouldered, but his face tells another story, worn, like the jeans he pulls on every day. His daughter, Lily, still asleep, lies in the other room. The sound of a spoon clinking against the pan is the only sound in the apartment. He stirs the eggs, his mind elsewhere. Suddenly, Lily's voice calls out from the bedroom. "Dad, is breakfast ready?" "Almost, sweetie," he calls back, his voice soft but tinged with exhaustion. A quick glance at the clock shows he's already late for work. Another missed opportunity to be the perfect dad. Another tight month ahead. Lily emerges, rubbing her eyes, her small feet pattering across the floor. Her face brightens when she sees the breakfast on the table. She's full of energy, full of questions. He forces a smile, ruffling her hair. "Eggs, your favorite," he says, trying to keep the mood light. "Thanks, Dad." She grins and climbs onto the chair, her tiny hands grabbing at the fork. Michael watches her for a moment, his eyes softening. A quiet pride swells within him. This is his life, now providing for her, even when it means sacrificing his own comfort. "Are we going to the park today?" Lily asks between bites, her voice hopeful. He pauses. The park. A luxury, really, with the long hours he works. He smiles tightly. "I'll try, kiddo." "We'll see." Lily nods, satisfied with the answer, though she doesn't quite understand the weight behind it. Michael's gaze drifts to the stack of bills on the counter. Bills that are due, bills he can't pay. He exhales slowly, masking the knot forming in his stomach. After breakfast, they share a quiet moment, cleaning up together, but he's already thinking about the day ahead. His job as a janitor isn't glamorous, but it's steady. It's what he's been doing for years, trying to make ends meet. As he grabs his jacket, he bends down to kiss Lily's forehead. "I'll be back soon. You'll be good, all right?" She nods, already immersed in her world of make. "I'll wait for you, Dad." Michael's chest tightens as he shuts the door behind him. Stepping out into the cold, gray world, his footsteps echo as he walks down the street. His thoughts consumed with the same worries he faces every day. How will he make it through this month? How can he keep doing this, day in and day out, just to give Lily a better life? He pushes the thoughts aside, focusing on the present. But something inside him whispers, one day, things will change. I'll make sure of it. The city streets are alive with movement, pedestrians weaving through traffic, cars honking, the distant rumble of a bus passing by. But amidst the chaos, Michael's eyes catch something that stills his world for a moment. A small boy stands at the edge of the building's shadow, clutching a worn stuffed bear to his chest. He's no older than 6, dressed in a thin jacket, too light for the early morning chill. His face is pale, lips trembling as he stares into the street, unmoving. A gust of wind hits, and the boy flinches, his body shuddering from the cold. Michael's heart tightens. He watches for a moment, frozen, unsure what to do. The boy is alone, no parent, no older sibling, just him, standing still like a figure caught in time. Michael feels a pang in his chest, a discomfort that gnaws at him. Should I stop? What if he's just waiting for someone? But then he notices the boy's eyes wide, vacant, as if lost in the world. There's no one coming for him, no one offering help. Michael's gaze shifts to the coat he's wearing, the worn edges of his sleeves. He's not in a position to help anyone, much less a child who looks like he's been standing here for hours, shivering in the cold. But then, something shifts within him. His feet move before he can think, and he steps toward the boy. "Hey there, buddy," Michael says softly, crouching to meet his eyes. His voice is warm, gentle, but the words feel strange coming from his mouth. He doesn't know this kid, doesn't even know why he's offering help. The boy looks up, his eyes round with surprise, his teeth clattering against the cold. The silence between them feels heavy, broken only by the distant sounds of the city. Michael asks, his voice low, hesitant. The boy nods, but doesn't speak. His trembling hands clutching the stuffed bear tighter. His face is flushed from the cold, and he looks as though he hasn't had a proper meal in days. Michael's mind races, searching for some way to fix this. He looks down at his own jacket, the half-empty lunch in his bag, and something clicks inside him. He doesn't have much, but it's something. Without a second thought, he reaches into his bag and pulls out the sandwich he made for himself this morning, the last bit of food he had. He holds it out to the boy, his hand steady, though his heart beats wildly in his chest. "Here," Michael says softly, offering the sandwich. "It's not much, but you can have it." The boy hesitates, glancing at Michael, then at the sandwich. His small hand reaches out slowly, almost tentatively, before taking it from Michael's hand. His fingers are so cold, shaking as he clutches the sandwich. Michael watches his chest, heavy with something he can't quite name. The boy takes a small bite, his eyes wide as if he can't believe what's happening. Michael doesn't know why, but seeing the child so fragile, so vulnerable, makes something break inside him. There's only the sound of the boy eating and the distant hum of the world moving around them. Michael stands there, watching, wondering if he's done enough. But before he can turn to leave, he hears a faint sound, a soft shuffle behind him. He turns quickly, almost instinctively, and his heart skips. A woman stands across the street, watching them. She's well-dressed, her coat luxurious, her posture rigid. She's not quite looking at Michael, but something about the way she holds herself, like she's frozen in place, catches his attention. Her gaze is fixed on the boy. Michael watches her for a moment, unsure of what to do. His hand tightens around the strap of his bag. What's she thinking? Then, as if sensing Michael's stare, she quickly turns away, stepping toward a sleek black car parked at the curb. Michael's chest tightens again, but before he can think further, the woman disappears into the car, leaving only the fading echo of her footsteps behind. The boy, now holding the sandwich in both hands, looks up at Michael. His small face, so innocent, reflects a glimmer of something Michael can't quite understand: gratitude, or maybe just relief. Michael turns away and begins to walk toward his workplace, his mind spinning. He never thought one small act of kindness could feel so heavy. What does it mean, giving something away when you have so little? As he walks toward the doors of his building, he glances back once more, but the boy is gone. The street corner now feels emptier than it did before. Michael steps inside the entrance of his workplace, the scent of cleaning supplies filling the air, a reminder of the hours that lie ahead. His mind, however, lingers on the boy, the image of his trembling hands still fresh in his thoughts. He stashes his bag in the small janitor's closet and grabs his mop. The sound of a flickering light above him breaks the silence. His body moves automatically, cleaning the endless gleaming floors, but his heart remains heavy. He can't stop thinking about the cold that had wrapped itself around that little boy like a second skin. Why did I help him? Michael wonders, his mop dragging behind him. The thought nags at him, pulling at the edges of his focus. Was it really kindness? Or just guilt? He doesn't know, and it's a thought that lingers like the stale air in the office as he mops. His thoughts are interrupted by the quiet hum of office workers in the break room. Their voices are light, full of ease and laughter. Talk of luxury vacations, new cars, expensive dinners. Foreign words to Michael. He tries to ignore it, but it sinks into his bones like cold water. He focuses on the task at hand, pulling his mop back and forth, the wet floor reflecting his tired face. I'm doing what I can, he tells himself, trying to push down the unease. Outside, the city moves on, indifferent. Yet Michael finds himself caught in an odd moment of clarity. The boy's face grateful, yet so empty, has left something inside him unsettled. But as the cleaning continues, something shifts. Maybe he hasn't given enough. But it was a start, and starts matter. The air outside is brisk as Michael steps into the break area, his mop abandoned for a brief respite. He's standing at the coffee machine, the hum of the office around him fading into the background. His mind keeps circling back to the boy, the cold, the hunger in his eyes. He can't shake the feeling that something's been left undone. As Michael pours his coffee, a voice interrupts his thoughts, smooth and confident. He turns, and there she is, the woman from across the street, the billionaire mom. She's standing by the door, her sharp features softened by a look of curiosity, her eyes still holding that same strange intensity they had when they locked with his earlier. She's dressed in a crisp designer coat, her presence commanding but somehow distant, as though she's not quite part of the world she inhabits. "Hello," she says, her voice like polished marble, cool, but not unkind. "I saw you earlier." Michael stiffens, the warmth of the coffee cup suddenly turning to ice in his hands. He didn't expect this. His breath catches as he tries to process her words, her gaze still lingering. "I wanted to thank you," she continues, her voice hesitant now, as though she's not entirely sure how to navigate this conversation, "for helping that boy. It was ... unexpected." Michael doesn't know how to respond. Unexpected? He wasn't sure he even did anything worth noting. He shifts, uncomfortably, unsure of what she expects. "No need for thanks," he mutters, his voice soft, betraying the pride he's trying to hold on to. "He needed something, and I had it." The billionaire mom looks at him, something flickering in her eyes, admiration, perhaps, or confusion. She smiles faintly, but it's gone as quickly as it appeared. "Well," she says, "you don't often see that kind of kindness these days." She leaves, but Michael is left standing there, still grasping the coffee cup. Feeling the weight of her words in the quiet space between them, the rest of the day drags on in a blur. Michael keeps his head down, focusing on his work. He scrubs, mops, and dusts. But all he can think about is the brief encounter with the billionaire mom. Her words, her gaze, everything about that moment unsettles him. What does she want from me? Later that afternoon, while wiping down the windows in the lobby, Michael spots her again standing by the entrance. She's talking to one of the executives, her laughter light and easy, as if she's completely out of place in his world. Her presence feels like an intrusion. He's still holding his mop when she turns and notices him. Their eyes lock for a moment, and she walks toward him, her heels clicking against the polished floor. "Hi," she says, a little too casually, like they're old friends. "I've been thinking about what you said earlier. About helping." Michael feels a nervous tension build up in his chest. What's she doing here? "Look," she continues, her voice softer now. "I was wondering if I could offer you something." She pauses, glancing at the lunchroom as if to make sure no one's listening. "Maybe there's a way I could ... help you and your daughter. I mean..." He stops mid-motion, staring at her. Confusion, mixed with disbelief. Help. His voice is low, cautious. He doesn't want to seem ungrateful, but he feels the walls of pride closing in. "I don't need charity." The billionaire mom raises her eyebrows, taken aback by his bluntness. "It's not charity," she insists. "I just think you deserve more than ... this." She gestures toward the janitor's closet, her voice laced with something like sympathy or guilt, he can't tell. Michael feels a flush rise to his cheeks. "I'm fine," he says quickly, shaking his head. "I'm doing all right." The silence between them stretches. Her face softens, but she doesn't push further. "Well," she says after a beat, "if you ever change your mind, I'm here." She turns to leave. But before she reaches the door, Michael can't help but call out, "Why do you care?" She pauses, her back still facing him. There's a long pause before she answers, her voice quieter now, "Because no one should have to feel invisible." The words hang in the air, and Michael watches her leave, her footsteps echoing through the empty hallway. His mind races, invisible. As she disappears from view, he stands frozen, still holding the mop like a lifeline. Her words feel like a weight he doesn't know how to carry. Michael stands still for a moment, the echoes of the billionaire mom's words ringing in his head. No one should have to feel invisible. The phrase hits him harder than he expects. His grip tightens around the mop handle, his knuckles white against the worn wood. It feels like a slap in the face, but in a way, it also feels like a truth he's been avoiding. Invisible. The word lingers, pressing into his chest like a weight. It's true he's spent so many years moving through life unnoticed, just a faceless worker, barely scraping by. His life revolves around the simple cycle of providing for Lily, keeping the apartment clean, making sure she's fed and safe. But outside of that, what is he? What is he really worth? He shifts his weight from foot to foot, trying to shake the feeling of being exposed. He's never wanted to be noticed, never wanted anyone to look too closely at him, at the man behind the faded uniform. But now, with the billionaire mom's eyes on him, something shifts. His mind flashes back 2 years ago, to a time when he still had dreams of being more than just a janitor, of being someone who could provide not just for Lily, but for himself too. But reality quickly slapped those dreams down. Life was hard. It still is. "I'm doing all right," he tells himself again. "I'm just doing what I have to do." But the truth stings. The cold air in the room feels sharper now, biting through his clothes. He looks around the empty hallway, the sterile walls reflecting his image back at him. He doesn't feel invisible anymore. He feels small. He exhales slowly, wiping his face with the back of his hand. I'll keep going, he decides. For her. For Lily, he picks up the mop and resumes his work. But the weight of the realization lingers the next morning. The office is buzzing, as usual. Michael steps through the building's main entrance, the sound of footsteps echoing on the polished marble floors. The air smells faintly of coffee and fresh paper, a sharp contrast to the heaviness that clings to his chest. His thoughts are tangled, still haunted by the billionaire mom's words from yesterday. Invisible as he pushes the cleaning cart down the hall, he tries to shake it off, focusing instead on the endless work ahead of him. But as he rounds the corner near the break room, there she is, again the billionaire mom. Standing near the glass doors that lead to the rooftop patio, she sees him almost instantly, her face lighting up with a smile that feels too bright, too perfect for this place. Good morning, Michael, she calls out, her voice cheerful but warm. The familiarity in her tone catches him off guard, making him pause in his tracks. She steps toward him, her heels clicking with precision. Hi, he replies, his voice low, unsure of where this is headed. He hadn't expected to see her today. After yesterday, he thought maybe she'd just let it go. I've been thinking, she says, her eyes scanning him carefully, as if weighing her words. I have an event coming up this weekend, something for the community. A charity gala, actually. She pauses, searching his face for a reaction. I wanted to invite you and your daughter. Michael feels the floor beneath him shift. Me at a gala. She nods, unfazed. I think it could be a good opportunity for both of you. There will be people there who could people who could help. He feels his stomach tighten at her words. The thought of entering that world, her world, feels wrong, but also tempting. Help? What does she mean? I don't know, Michael murmurs, shifting uncomfortably. Just think about it, she says, her tone gentle but firm. You don't have to decide right now, but it could change things. He looks at her, torn. This wasn't what he wanted. He didn't want pity or charity. He doesn't need a handout, but the offer lingers in the air between them, hanging like a promise he doesn't know how to keep. All right, he finally says, his voice thick with hesitation. I'll think about it. She smiles, her eyes full of something like hope. Great, I'll send you the details. As she walks away, Michael stands there, the weight of her offer pressing down on him. What does she want from me? The evening after the invitation, Michael can't shake the thought of the gala. The idea of stepping into that world, a world he's never belonged to, feels both thrilling and overwhelming. He wonders if it's worth it, if attending will mean anything at all, or if it'll just be another reminder of how far apart he and the billionaire mom truly are. The morning of the event, he and Lily stand in front of their small bathroom mirror. The light dim as Michael adjusts his jacket. It's the best one he owns, worn at the elbows, and slightly frayed at the collar, but it's still the nicest he can manage. Lily, excited despite the obvious tension in the air, twirls in her dress. Her hair is messy from the morning rush, but she wears a smile that fills the space with warmth. You look beautiful, sweetheart, Michael says, smoothing down the front of his jacket. He glances at her, unsure of how this day is going to unfold. I like your suit, Dad, she says brightly, her eyes sparkling. Are we really going to a fancy party? Michael chuckles softly. I guess you could call it that, but just remember, it's not about fancy clothes, it's about us having a good time, okay? Lily nods, her excitement undeterred. As they step out of their apartment, Michael's heart beats a little faster. They're walking into a world that's alien to him, full of polished smiles and handshakes. A place where people wear clothes he could never afford, sit at tables he could never imagine. The car ride to the venue is quiet, the city streets buzzing with energy outside the window. Michael's fingers tighten around the seatbelt, the uncertainty building as they approach the grand building. The place looks nothing like their apartment complex stall, gleaming with windows that reflect the evening sky. The entrance is lit with golden lights, valet cars parked out front. The place is full of grandeur, everything about it radiating power and wealth. They arrive at the door, and Michael hesitates for just a second. The sudden weight of this world hits him, the fancy suits, the extravagant decor, the kind of wealth he only ever heard about on the news. It's overwhelming. It's like stepping onto a stage where he doesn't belong, and yet, here he is. Lily tugs on his sleeve, pulling him out of his thoughts. Dad, are you okay? He smiles, but it feels strained. Yeah, kiddo, we're going to be fine. As they step inside, the contrast couldn't be clearer. The room is filled with people who exude confidence, conversation flowing effortlessly. But Michael feels like a fish out of water, unsure of what to do, where to go. The lights, the laughter, the soft music hit, all feels foreign. The billionaire mom greets them from across the room. Her elegant figure standing out among the crowd, she waves them over, her smile kind and warm. But Michael can't shake the feeling that this is a world too far out of reach for someone like him. Still, he straightens up and walks toward her, knowing that for Lily, this might be a memory worth making. Michael and Lily walk deeper into the event, the clinking of glasses and soft laughter surrounding them. The stark contrast between their humble lives and the polished, affluent world they now find themselves in is undeniable. Michael's grip tightens on Lily's hand, and his stomach twists with unease. It's a world he never imagined stepping into rich, beautiful people, their lives seemingly untouched by struggle. As they pass by a group of well-dressed people chatting near the bar, Michael hears snippets of their conversation vacations in Europe. Designer shoes, expensive wine, the words sting as they hit his ears. This is a different world, he thinks, the weight of their privilege settling heavily on his shoulders. Lily, on the other hand, is full of wonder, her eyes wide as she takes in the new world. She pulls him toward a table piled high with tiny hors d'oeuvres, her excitement palpable. Look, Dad, it's like a feast. Michael smiles, but feels a pang of guilt. This isn't her world. He wonders how long it will take before she realizes that. He watches her happily munch on a small pastry, and for a moment, he lets himself relax, just enjoying the fleeting happiness in her eyes. But as he scans the room, his eyes meet the billionaire moms, standing across the hall, watching them. There's something different in her gaze. Now a hint of sadness mixed with admiration. He turns away, unsure of what that look means, but the unease lingers. Michael stands at the edge of the ballroom, his eyes darting across the room, trying to avoid the weight of the unfamiliar world around him. People in elegant suits and dresses mingle effortlessly, but he feels like an outsider. He hadn't expected this feeling of alienation to hit so hard. Lily tugs at his sleeve, pointing toward the dance floor. "Can we dance, Dad?" she asks, her voice high with excitement. He looks at her, hesitant. "We're not quite dressed for that," he says with a weak laugh, though the truth is, he's not sure how to fit into this world. He tries to mask his discomfort by keeping a smile on his face for her sake. But before he can say anything more, the billionaire mom approaches them, her footsteps graceful and confident, her eyes warm as she stops in front of Michael. "Hello," she says, her voice friendly but carrying an underlying sincerity. "It's so good to see you here." Michael's smile falters. He knows this moment, this is where the worlds collide. The world of charity and giving, of obligation. The world of the elite and the world of the working class. "Thanks for inviting us," Michael says, trying to keep his voice steady. It's a lot to take in." The billionaire mom smiles, but there's an unspoken understanding between them. "I know. It's a different world, isn't it?" She pauses, then adds, "But I think there's room for both." Michael looks at her, searching her face for any hint of what she's really trying to say. But before he can press further, she gestures toward the dance floor. "Would you like to join me for a drink?" she offers. Michael hesitates, then nods. "Sure, why not?" As they walk together, the tension begins to ease slightly. But the underlying question remains. What does she really want from me? The night wears on, and the initial unease Michael felt about being out of place starts to fade, replaced by a gnawing curiosity. He can't quite figure out the billionaire mom. Her wealth, her confidence, they should have been barriers, but they've slowly morphed into something else. There's a genuine kindness in her eyes, a warmth that feels unusual for someone of her status. They sit together at a small table, each with a glass of wine, Michael more out of politeness than desire, but it's a rare opportunity. The conversation drifts from small talk to something more personal. "I've been thinking," the billionaire mom says, her voice quieter now, "about you. About how hard it must be for you and Lily." Michael looks at her, his gaze hardening slightly. "You don't know anything about me," he says, his voice sharper than he intended. It's a gut reaction, something he doesn't want to admit, but feels anyway. She doesn't flinch at his response. "You're right," she says, her eyes steady. I don't, but I can see it. The way you work, the way you care for your daughter. It's not something you find every day. The sincerity in her voice catches him off guard, and for a moment, he's speechless. What does she really see? Before he can respond, she adds, I know what it's like to lose yourself in the struggle, to forget who you really are in the process. Her words land heavy in the air, and Michael feels something shift within him. The room suddenly feels smaller, the noise around them dimming as the evening progresses. The walls Michael has built around himself begin to crack. The billionaire mom's words linger in his mind, pulling him into an unfamiliar territory. The more they talk, the more he sees beyond the surface of her wealth and status. She shares more about herself, how she grew up with nothing, how she had to claw her way to the top, the pressures of living in a world where nothing was ever enough. Michael listens, surprised by how much they have in common, the guilt that has weighed him down for so long of not being enough, of not doing enough shifts. I get it, he says quietly, a rare vulnerability in his voice. I've been so focused on survival that I've lost sight of everything else. I don't know how to be more than what I am. The billionaire mom looks at him for a long moment before speaking. You already are more, she says. You just don't see it yet. Michael pauses, considering her words. For the first time in a long while, he feels like maybe there's something beyond just getting by, something worth reaching for. She leans forward, her voice low and intimate. I want to help you, she says. I can't fix everything, but I can offer you something more than what you've got. Her offer hangs in the air, but Michael feels his chest tighten. This isn't charity, is it? The night continues, but Michael can't shake the unease that has settled in his chest. The billionaire mom's offer lingers in the back of his mind, like an unspoken challenge he's not sure he's ready to face. Her eyes follow him now, not with pity, but with something deeper. Understanding, maybe, but the offer still feels like a weight one that he can't quite carry. He's always prided himself on his independence. I don't need anyone's help, he tells himself, but the words feel empty now, hollow. Lily, oblivious to the tension between the adults, tugs on his sleeve, her face beaming with excitement. Dad, look, they're playing music, she exclaims, pointing toward the stage where a small band has begun to play. Michael smiles at her enthusiasm, relieved to focus on something else. Yeah, I see it. Let's go watch. As they walk toward the stage, Michael tries to push the discomfort aside. He wants to be strong for Lily. But as they take their seats, he catches the billionaire mom's eyes again. She's watching him, waiting for him to respond, to make a decision. I can't do this, Michael thinks. I can't let her fix everything. But as the music swells, something inside him shifts. The notes play, each one a subtle reminder of what he's been missing. The connection, the unity, the idea that something can change something beyond just survival. Lily wide-eyed. Dad, this is so pretty, isn't it? His heart swells as he looks at her. Her innocence and joy so pure. He wants to protect that. For her, maybe I'll take the step. But the moment of decision is fleeting. The tension still remains. The evening wears on, and Michael's internal battle continues. He's never been one to accept help, to let others in. But tonight, everything feels different. His pride still tugs at him, but something inside him tells him it's time to let go, time to accept. The billionaire mom approaches him again as the event starts to wind down. She's standing by the open terrace, her silhouette framed by the city lights. She looks as if she's been waiting for him, her expression calm but serious. You've been quiet, she says, her voice steady, watching him carefully. Michael hesitates, then steps forward. I don't know how to do this, he admits, his voice low. I don't know how to let someone help me. I've spent my whole life trying to make it on my own. And now, you're offering me something I don't know how to accept. Her gaze softens. I get it, she says. I understand more than you think. But what I'm offering isn't just about helping you, it's about sharing something. It's about you being seen for who you really are. Michael feels the weight of her words. He's spent his life hiding, surviving in the shadows. He's used to being invisible, to being overlooked. But she's right, he's ready to be seen. His throat tightens as he looks at her. Unsure of where to go from here, the billionaire mom steps closer, her voice softer now. You're not alone, Michael. Something in him cracks. The walls he's built up for so long start to crumble, piece by piece, but he can't fully let them go, not yet. The night is nearly over, and the event is starting to wind down. People are gathering their things, preparing to leave, but Michael feels like the night is just beginning to take shape. The weight of everything the past, the pride, the tension has begun to settle in his chest. He looks at Lily, who is laughing with a group of kids she's met at the party. She looks so free, so unburdened by the weight of the world. It's a stark contrast to the weight Michael feels, one that's been building for years, as he walks outside. The cool air bites at his skin, the city's lights flickering in the distance. He exhales slowly, trying to process everything. But the truth is, he's scared. Scared of what accepting help would mean, scared of being vulnerable. The billionaire mom joins him on the terrace, standing quietly beside him for a moment. Her presence is steady, but he feels the difference now. There's no judgment in her eyes, only understanding. "I know what you're thinking," she says, her voice barely above a whisper, "but the choice is yours. You don't have to accept anything if you're not ready. I just want you to know, there's more than this." Michael stares out at the city, the bustling streets below. It all seems so distant, so out of reach. But for the first time, he wonders if it's not as far away as it seems. Maybe he doesn't have to keep fighting alone. He looks at her, finally speaking the words he's been holding in. "Maybe I'm ready," he says, his voice thick with emotion. "Maybe I'm ready to change." And as the night fades, something inside him shifts. Something deeper than he's allowed himself to feel in years. The days after the gala pass in a blur, but Michael can't shake the pull of the decision he knows he has to make. The billionaire mom's offer lingers in his mind, as persistent as the hum of the fluorescent lights in his janitor's closet. He can't stop thinking about her words. There's more than this. That night, he finds himself sitting on the edge of his bed, staring at Lily as she sleeps, her small figure curled up under the covers. She's always been his anchor, the reason he keeps pushing forward. But now, something feels different. The pressure to provide, to keep everything together, weighs heavier than ever. He doesn't know what to do. The offer to help seems like a lifeline, but it also feels like a surrender he's not sure he's ready to make. His phone buzzes on the nightstand. Breaking the silence, it's a message from the billionaire mom, a simple note asking if he's made a decision yet. Michael stares at it for a moment, his thumb hovering over the screen. He feels like he's standing at the edge of a cliff, unsure if he should jump or turn back. His pride is still there, holding him back, telling him he doesn't need anyone's help, but the fear of staying in the same place, stuck. Invisible is growing too loud to ignore. He looks back at Lily's peaceful face, her breath steady and calm, and a wave of guilt washes over him. How long can I keep doing this for her? He reaches for the phone, his hand trembling slightly. He types a response. "I'm ready." He hits send before he can think too much about it. For the first time, he feels a crack in the wall he's been building for years. The next morning feels different, heavier somehow. Michael walks through the halls of his workplace with a new weight on his shoulders, one he can't quite place. The phone call with the billionaire mom still lingers in his mind. Her voice was warm, understanding, but there was a challenge in it, to let go, to accept help. He can't stop thinking about it. Part of him wants to run from it, to shove it aside, and pretend it doesn't matter. But another part of him, the part that's tired of pretending, feels the pull. Maybe it's time, he thinks. Maybe I've carried this weight for too long. But then the old familiar voice creeps in. You don't need her. You don't need anyone. He pauses in front of a large window overlooking the city, his reflection staring back at him. The man in the glass is a stranger man who's built his life on pride, on the belief that he can make it alone. But that man is exhausted, worn down by years of constant struggle. He inhales deeply, trying to shake the feeling of defeat. The day ahead feels just like every other, mundane, predictable, filled with tasks he's done 1,000 times before. Yet something about it feels different now, like a door is about to open. But he's standing at the threshold, afraid to step through. Is this who I want to be? The thought hits him harder than he expects. Can I really keep living like this? But then, as if on cue, a voice breaks through his thoughts. Lily's laughter echoes in his mind, and suddenly, he knows what he has to do. For her, for both of them. He turns away from the window, his decision made. The time for pride is over. The next few days blur together in a flurry of decision-making, both from Michael and the billionaire mom. The phone call he'd been avoiding is now something he's actually preparing for. He's accepted the help, accepted it for what it is, not as charity, but as an opportunity. But with that decision comes a strange weight, one that's hard to describe. It's not just the relief of knowing he's no longer alone in this. It's the weight of needing someone, of admitting that he can't do it all by himself anymore. Lily, as always, is the light in his life. She doesn't see the turmoil within him. She's too busy planning their day, asking him over and over when they'll be able to go to the park, when they'll have the time to just be. Michael smiles at her, trying to push aside the discomfort in his chest. He knows it's for her. Everything he does is for her. But now, there's an undercurrent of something else, something deep inside that he can't ignore. The moment arrives when the billionaire mom calls. Her voice is calm, but there's a note of urgency that catches Michael off guard. "I've arranged everything," she says. "I think you're going to like it. This could change everything for you and Lily. You'll see." He swallows hard, the reality of his decision sinking in. This is it. "No turning back now. I'll be there," he says quietly, the words barely escaping his throat as he hangs up. The weight of what's to come feels both overwhelming and freeing. He looks at Lily, who is eagerly waiting for his attention, her eyes bright with hope. For the first time in a long while, he feels like he might be able to offer her something better, a future, where they don't have to struggle so hard. The days pass slowly, the weight of the upcoming change heavy on Michael's mind. He's no longer carrying the burden of pride, but there's a different kind of burden now, vulnerability that feels like a door he's finally opened. He's letting someone in, and for the first time in years, he feels a little lighter, a little less alone. The billionaire mom, Alexis, has become a strange but undeniable presence in his life. Her texts, her calls, her supportits, all genuine. But it's hard to shake the feeling that he's walking on unfamiliar ground. She's someone who's never had to fight for a place at the table. And he's someone who's been fighting all his life. But for what? They meet again at a local cafe, a small, quiet place, far from the glittering world of galas and high society. The air between them is thick with the unspoken questions that have been brewing. She greets him with a warm smile, her usual elegance softened by the casual setting. "You look tired," she says, her voice light but observant. Michael chuckles, rubbing the back of his neck. It's the same every day. Never ending, she nods, but there's a knowing look in her eyes. "I know what it's like to feel like you're constantly running. But you don't have to keep running, Michael. Not anymore." He's quiet for a moment, the weight of her words sinking in. "I've never been good at letting people help. I've always just kept going." "I understand," she says softly. "But maybe it's time to stop pretending you don't need anything." He looks at her, the walls around him coming down little by little. The truth is, he does need help. But admitting it, even now, feels like an admission of failure. "I've always had to do everything on my own," he admits, his voice quiet. "For Lily, for us." She reaches across the table, her hand gentle but firm on his. "You don't have to do it alone anymore." The connection between them is palpable. Now something more than just two people meeting at the right time. It's understanding, it's shared vulnerability. For the first time in a long while, Michael feels like maybe he doesn't have to carry everything. Maybe there's room for him to be more than just a man scraping by. The following week is a whirlwind. Michael has accepted the job that Alexis arranged for him. It's more than just a job, it's an opportunity, the kind of chance he's never had before. And yet, he feels a sense of dread creeping up on him. What if he fails? What if he's not enough? Lily is as excited as ever. She doesn't understand the weight of what's happening, but she can sense the shift in her father. His shoulders are less hunched, his steps lighter. He doesn't feel like he's carrying the world anymore. On the way to his first day at the new job, Alexis calls to check in. Her voice is a reminder of the world he's stepping into, one of possibilities and unknowns. "How are you feeling?" she asks, and Michael can hear the genuine care in her tone. "I don't know yet," he replies, his grip tightening around the steering wheel. "It's all new. It feels like I don't even know what this is." "Change is hard," she says, "but you're doing it. You're taking the step, and that's the hardest part." Michael exhales, looking at the road ahead. "I'm scared. I don't know if I can keep up with all of this." "You don't have to be perfect. Just show up. That's all." Her words settle over him like a blanket, a small comfort in the face of his uncertainty. He can do this. For Lily, for both of them. The first few days of the new job are harder than Michael expected. The pace is fast, the work demanding, and the expectations higher than anything he's dealt with before. But through it all, He keeps reminding himself of one thing: this is for Lily. This is the chance he's been waiting for, and he won't let it slip away. But as the days pass, he feels a strange pull-a-tug of doubt. Alexis has offered him more than just the job. She's offered him a life, one that's completely different from anything he's known. But in exchange, he's had to let go of his pride, his independence, and that's a price he's not sure he's willing to pay. One evening, after a long day at work, he sits in his small apartment, the weight of the decision heavy on his shoulders. The job is going well, but the cost of everything else feels like too much. The demands, the expectations, he's not sure if he's ready to take on more than he can handle. He watches Lily, asleep on the couch, a contented smile on her face. She's everything to him. But as he looks at her, something shifts. This is why I'm doing this. For her, and yet, the question remains, how much am I willing to change for her? The following days feel like a blur of meetings, unfamiliar faces, and tasks that seem to grow by the minute. Michael feels the pressure building. At first, he was excited to leave the janitor's closet behind, to step into a world where things could finally be different. But now, every day feels like a test. The learning curve is steeper than he anticipated, and the weight of responsibility is heavier than he expected. At home, he struggles to balance everything. The long hours at the new job leave little time for Lily. He's often too tired to help her with her homework, or take her to the park like he promised. The guilt eats at him, gnawing away at whatever pride he has left. She deserves more than this, more than the absence he's starting to become. One night, after a particularly long day, Michael comes home to find Lily sitting by the window, her little face illuminated by the soft glow of the streetlight outside. Her eyes are focused, but there's a distance to them. "Hey, kiddo," he says, trying to mask the exhaustion in his voice as he kneels beside her. "What are you thinking about?" Lily looks up at him, her eyes tired, but still holding that spark. "I miss when we used to play together, Dad, when you'd be home all the time." Michael's heart aches at her words. He feels like he's failing her. "I'm sorry, sweetheart," he says, his voice thick with regret. "I've been working a lot, but I'll make it up to you. I promise." But even as he says the words, he knows they're just that, promises. He can't give her the time she needs when he's barely holding on to his own life. The reality is settling in. Change doesn't come without a price, and right now, that price is his connection with his daughter. The tension between the changes in his life and his desire to hold on to his independence begins to bubble over. The new job is pushing him to his limits, and the billionaire mom, Alexis, continues to offer him help, guidance, even encouragement. But every time she does, Michael feels a knot form in his stomach. I can't keep relying on her, he thinks. I can't be the man she thinks I am. He's been so focused on proving himself, on showing that he can make it on his own, that he's losing sight of what's important. And the more Alexis helps, the more he resists. The weight of her expectations starts to feel like a burden, one he can't carry without crumbling under the pressure. The job is becoming more demanding, and his relationship with Lily is starting to feel strained. He's not there for her like he used to be. He's too busy keeping up with the pace of the job and trying to manage everything else. It's taking everything out of him. One evening, as he walks into his apartment, he sees Lily sitting at the kitchen table, her homework half finished, her face buried in her hands. "What's wrong, sweetie?" he asks, his voice full of concern. She looks up at him, her eyes filled with frustration. "You're never here anymore, Dad. You said you'd take me to the park. I don't want to do this alone." Her words hit him like a punch to the gut. He's losing her. Michael takes a deep breath, his chest tightening. He doesn't know how to fix it all, how to balance the demands of this new life and still be the father Lily deserves. The guilt is suffocating, and he feels like he's failing her on every level. The next few days bring clarity, painful, raw clarity. Michael starts to realize that the changes he's fought so hard for, the job, the help from Alexis, all of it's not working. He's lost the balance he once had. The very things that were supposed to bring them a better life are now pushing him further away from the person he loves most. One evening, after another long day at work, Michael sits in his small apartment. Staring at the empty space between him and Lily, she's already asleep, tucked into bed, her small body curled under the blankets. The apartment is quiet, the kind of quiet that feels suffocating. Michael rubs his eyes, his exhaustion catching up with him in waves. The decisions he's made, they were supposed to help her, help both of them. but they haven't. He glances at his phone where he sees a message from Alexis. It's a simple, "How are you holding up?" But to him, it feels like an invitation to step deeper into the world she's trying to pull him into. Do I want this? He asks himself the question, echoing in his mind. He thinks back to the boy he helped that day, the one shivering on the corner. It wasn't the job, the money, or the offers from Alexis that made a difference. It was the choice to give, to help, even when he didn't have enough for himself. That's what mattered. He exhales slowly, the weight of the realization settling over him. Maybe he's been looking for the wrong things. Maybe he doesn't need to change everything in his life. Maybe he just needs to remember who he isn't, who he wants to be for Lily. The next morning, Michael makes a decision. He's done with trying to prove he can handle everything alone. He's tired of the pressure, tired of the expectation to fit into a mold that wasn't made for him. He takes the first step toward rebuilding what's truly important. He calls Alexis, his voice steady but filled with something he hasn't felt in a long time: honesty. "I can't keep doing this," he says. "I've been trying to do everything, and it's tearing me apart. I've been pushing you away because I thought I needed to do this on my own. But I can't." There's a pause on the other end of the line. Then, Alexis speaks, her voice kind and understanding. "You don't have to do this alone, Michael. You've been carrying so much for so long. Let me help." Michael breathes a sigh of relief. For the first time, he feels like he's not drowning. Maybe this is what I need. Partnership, not charity. "I'm ready," he says quietly, "to accept help, but also to be there for you, too." As the conversation ends, a weight lifts from his shoulders. For the first time, Michael feels like he's on the right path, one that he's walking with. Lily and Alexis by his side. The following days bring new challenges, but they also bring something Michael hasn't had in a long time: clarity. He's finally letting go of his pride, accepting that it's okay to ask for help, but the weight of that choice still lingers. As he balances his new job with his responsibilities as a father, he's also confronting the emotional cost of his earlier decisions. At work, the pressure to perform is mounting. Michael is still adjusting to the new pace, the higher expectations. But now, instead of fighting against it, he's learning to lean into the support he's been offered. He talks to Alexis more, sharing his concerns and his frustrations, letting her help in small but significant ways. It feels strange at first, but it's also a relief. But the pride that has defined so much of his life still pulls at him, especially when it comes to his relationship with Lily. There are moments, small moments, when he feels like he's not measuring up, like he's failing her in some way. Last week, she had asked him if they could go to the park. He had promised her, but then work got in the way. Again, tonight. After another long shift, he's sitting in the kitchen, trying to finish a meal. But all he can think about is Lily's disappointed face the last time. He couldn't keep his promise. He picks up his phone and types a quick message to Alexis, asking if she can help with the next project. Then, he pauses. "I'm doing this for her," he reminds himself. But the thought of relying on someone else, even Alexis, doesn't sit right with him. In the quiet of the night, he stands in the doorway, looking at Lily as she sleeps soundly in her bed. The promise of a better future seeming so far away. The days continue to blur together, but there's a shift happening in Michael. He's letting go of the tension that has built up over the years. He's starting to feel like maybe, just maybe, he can be more than the man he's always been: the struggling father who has to fight for every little thing. He's opening up to the idea that helping doesn't mean losing himself. One evening, as they sit together for dinner, Lily looks at him with bright eyes, a hopeful smile on her face. "Dad, can we go to the park tomorrow? I really want to play on the swings," she says. Michael feels a tightness in his chest. He wants to say yes. He really does. But the weight of the responsibility he carries, his job, his commitment to Alexis, the bills piling up, keeps him from fully embracing the moment. "Sweetheart," he says softly, "I'll try. Okay. We'll see what happens tomorrow." Lily nods, but he sees the small flicker of disappointment in her eyes before she looks away. He hates that he can't always follow through on his promises. But this time, something inside him shifts. He can feel it. He will take her to the park. He has to, not for himself, but for her. That night, he lies awake, thinking about how far he's come. How many times he's told himself he couldn't ask for help, that he had to be everything to everyone. But he's learning, bit by bit, that it's okay to accept support. It's okay to be vulnerable. Tomorrow, he'll go to the park, and he won't let anything stand in his way. The next morning, Michael wakes up with a new sense of purpose. It's a Saturday, and it feels like a new beginning. The weight of the past few weeks of trying to juggle everything, of hiding behind his pride, has lifted. Today, he's going to make good on his promise to Lily. He walks into the kitchen, where she's already eating breakfast, her excitement evident as she looks up at him. "Are we really going, Dad?" Michael smiles, a genuine warm smile that reaches his eyes for the first time in a while. "We're going," he says, grabbing his jacket from the back of the chair. "Just us. The park, swings, the whole thing." Lily's face lights up, her joy infectious. She grabs her shoes and rushes to put them on. Michael watches her, his heart swelling with pride. This is what it's all about, he thinks. This moment. This time, with her, as they walk to the park, Michael can't help but notice how everything feels lighter. The air seems fresher, the world brighter. He's still nervous about the changes in his life, still unsure about the road ahead, but for the first time, he feels like he's making the right decisions for him. For Lily, he looks down at her, her hand in his, and for the first time, he knows that even if nothing else changes, this moment, this connection between them, is everything. As the weeks pass, Michael begins to reclaim pieces of himself that he had lost over the years. The job is still demanding, but it's no longer an insurmountable burden. He's learning to balance his responsibilities, to trust in the help that Alexis offers, and, most importantly, to be present for Lily. One afternoon, as they sit together at the kitchen table, Michael watches Lily draw in her sketchbook. She's grown so much in the past year, her confidence shining through, in the way she expresses herself. "You're really good at that," Michael says, leaning over her shoulder to get a better look at her drawing. Lily beams, pleased with his praise. "Thanks, Dad. I want to be an artist when I grow up." Michael's heart swells. It's a simple statement, but it means so much. "I think that's a great idea, kiddo. You can be anything you want." The words feel like a promise, not just to her, but to himself. He's going to make sure she has the opportunity to chase her dreams just like he wanted to. But, unlike before, he knows he doesn't have to do it alone. He has support. He has a future. And most importantly, he has Lily. The opportunity to prove himself is staring Michael in the face. The new job is first real chance to climb out of the hole. He's been digging for so long is demanding more than he anticipated. The tasks are getting harder, the deadlines tighter, and his confidence starts to waver. One afternoon, as he sorts through piles of paperwork at his desk, his phone buzzes. It's a text from Alexis. "How are you holding up?" He stares at the message for a moment, the weight of the question settling in his chest. He hasn't had a chance to check in with her in days. His life has become a blur of work, obligations, and trying to be there for Lily. "There's no room for anything else." He types back, "It's a lot, but I'm managing." A few minutes pass before her reply comes through. "Just remember," she pauses, the next words carefully chosen, "you don't have to do it alone." Michael puts the phone down and runs his hands through his hair. He's not sure if it's the pressure of the work or the weight of Alexis's offer that's starting to crack him. "I don't know how much longer I can keep this up," he thinks. But as the night wears on, Michael finds himself facing the test he's been dreading. A major project is due in the morning, one he's been working on for weeks. He's behind schedule, and the pressure to finish it is overwhelming. He's stretched to his limits, mentally, physically, and emotionally. He picks up his phone again, staring at the message from Alexis. This time he doesn't hesitate. He types, "I can't do it alone. I need help." The weight of the words feels both freeing and terrifying, but he sends the message. As the night stretches on, he begins to feel something shift within him. He's done with trying to do it all by himself, and for the first time, he feels like he's making a real step forward toward something better. The response comes quickly, like a lifeline. Alexis's words are reassuring. "I'm here. Whatever you need, just ask. It's more than just an offer of help. It's a promise that he doesn't have to carry the weight of everything on his own. The realization hits him like a wave. For the first time in his life, he doesn't have to keep fighting for every scrap. He doesn't have to keep pushing forward alone. The next day, Alexis steps in, offering advice, support, and even making connections that help Michael get back on track. He's still working hard. There's no shortcut to success, but the pressure is no longer crushing him. He can breathe. But as the days pass, something begins to change in him. The wall of pride that's kept him isolated, the one he built to protect himself, starts to crumble. Each gesture of support from Alexis, no matter how small, chips away at that wall, and he begins to see things differently. He's still the man he's always been, the father who will do anything for his daughter, the one who's been scrapping by for so long. But now, he's also someone who is learning to trust others, to accept help without shame, and as the project finishes ahead of schedule, the final pieces falling into place, Michael realizes something important. The power wasn't in doing everything alone. It was in finding the strength to let go of the past and move forward together. The weeks that follow are full of transition. Michael still works long hours, still faces the challenges that come with the new job. But now, there's an ease to it. Alexis is there supporting him when he needs it, pushing him when he doubts himself. And, slowly, he begins to trust her more. Not just as a colleague, but as a friend. He's letting go of the parts of himself that have always held him back: the pride, the fear, the stubborn need to prove that he could do everything by himself. He's learning that asking for help isn't weakness, it's strength. It's the strength to acknowledge his limits and allow others to help him overcome them. The changes aren't just internal. He's making time for Lily again, taking her to the park when he promises, sitting down with her at night to help with her homework. They're reconnecting in a way that feels both familiar and new. She sees it to how he's more present, more grounded. And for the first time in a long time, Michael feels a sense of peace. He no longer has to keep pretending that he's something he's not. He's not the perfect father. He's not the perfect employee, but he's enough. For Lily, for himself. The next time Alexis calls, Michael answers with a new confidence. "I think I'm finally getting it," he says, a smile tugging at his lips. "I'm letting go." Her voice is warm, full of understanding, and that's when the real change happens. Days turn into weeks, and the weight of uncertainty slowly lifts from Michael's shoulders. His bond with Alexis grows stronger, no longer based on obligation or charity, but on mutual respect. They share ideas, laugh over coffee, and occasionally sit in silence. The quiet understanding between them growing deeper. Michael starts to see Alexis not just as the woman who offered him help, but as someone who believes in him. She sees his potential, sees the man he's always been, someone who works hard, who loves his daughter with everything he has. One evening, as they sit on the rooftop of a building, watching the sun set over the city, Alexis turns to him. "You've come a long way," she says, her voice soft but full of admiration. "I can see it in you." The change. Michael looks at her, his eyes reflecting the soft orange glow of the setting sun. "I couldn't have done it without you," he admits, his voice low, "but I'm learning. Every day." She smiles, a small, knowing smile. "You were always capable, you just had to believe it." Michael looks down at his hands, the calluses worn from years of hard work. He's still that man, the one who's been through the struggles, who's seen the lowest of lows. But now, he sees a new version of himself, a version who's willing to accept the help he needs and give back what he can. The future isn't perfect, but for the first time in a long time, it feels possible. The days are getting easier now. Michael is settling into his new rhythm, balancing work with the time he spends with Lily. His world still feels a little unfamiliar, but it's starting to make sense. And with every passing day, the weight of the past seems to lift, piece by piece. One evening, after dinner, as they sit together on the couch, Michael looks at Lily, her bright eyes focused on the TV, but her hand resting in his. He's never been able to express his gratitude before, never been good at finding the words. But tonight, something inside him shifts. "Lily," he says, his voice softer than usual. She looks up at him, her curiosity piqued. "I just wanted to say, thank you for being patient with me." Lily smiles, her innocent grin lighting up the room. "I always wait for you, Dad." Michael feels a lump in his throat. He's always felt like he was failing her in some way, like he couldn't give her the things she deserved. But now, with everything that's changed, he sees that he's given her something more important: his presence, his time, his love. "No," he says, his voice breaking slightly. "You've been more than patient. You've been my reason to keep going. I'm sorry I couldn't always be there for you before, but I'm here now. Really here." Lily leans into him, her tiny head resting on his shoulder. "I like when you're here, Dad," Michael smiles, his heart full. Maybe I don't have everything figured out, but I've got her. And that's enough. The moment hangs between them, pure and simple. And in that moment, Michael realizes something he's found what he's been searching for all along. Not in the job, not in the money, but in the quiet, everyday moments with Lily. The bond they share is everything. As the weeks pass, the transformation in Michael becomes undeniable. He's not the same man he was when he first took the job. He's not the same man who carried the weight of the world on his shoulders, believing that asking for help made him weak. He's learned that strength doesn't come from carrying everything alone. It comes from being willing to accept the support of others. And it's not just his relationship with Alexis that's changed. It's his relationship with himself. For the first time in years, he feels whole again. He's not perfect. He never will be. But he's trying, and that's all that matters. Lily thrives in this new environment, her laughter filling the apartment more than ever before. She still doesn't fully understand the changes in their lives, but she's happier, more secure, and that's enough for Michael. One evening, as he's tucking her into bed, she looks up at him with those wide, trusting eyes. "Dad, I think we're going to be okay." Michael's heart swells. For the first time in a long time, he believes it too. The apartment feels warmer these days, filled with the sounds of laughter and music. Michael's life, once ruled by stress and uncertainty, now feels more like a canvas, waiting to be filled with new memories. New dreams. It's Saturday morning, and Michael and Lily are sitting at the kitchen table planning their day. They've got a park visit lined up, and then, maybe, they'll stop by the bakery on the corner for some fresh pastries. The simplicity of the moment is everything. The world outside is chaotic, filled with deadlines and demands. But here, with Lily by his side, everything feels right. For the first time in years, Michael feels like he's in control of his life. Not in a way that feels suffocating, but in a way that allows him to breathe. "Are you excited for the park?" he asks, grinning as Lily bounces in her chair. "Yeah," she says, her face lighting up. "I want to go on the swings, and I'll show you how fast I can run." Michael chuckles, the sound full of warmth. "You'll probably outrun me, kiddo." But inside, he knows that it's not about outrunning anyone. It's about showing up for each other every day, no matter how small the moment. And for the first time in a long time, Michael feels like he's done something right. Not just for himself, but for Lily, for their future. The weight of the past is still there, but it doesn't control him anymore. He's moving forward, step by step, with a new sense of purpose. "This is my chance to give her everything I never had, and this time, I won't let it slip away." The days that follow are full of promise. Michael and Alexis continue to work together, not just in business, but in life. Their partnership is a source of strength, not just for the tasks at hand, but for the journey they're on together. For the first time, Michael feels like he's not just surviving, he's thriving. The weight of his past struggles hasn't disappeared, but it no longer holds him back. Instead, it's become the foundation for everything he's building now, and the most important thing he's building. His relationship with Lily. Every day, he tries to be the father she deserves, present, engaged, and most importantly, they're one evening. They're walking back from the park. Lily skipping ahead of him, laughing as she runs. Michael watches her, his heart full. He never thought this day would come, the day when he could finally give her the life she deserves. But here it is, and it's better than he ever imagined. When they get home, Michael sits down with her at the kitchen table, both of them looking at the drawings she's made that day. He smiles, proud of her, proud of how far they've come. "You're getting really good at this," he says, pointing to one of her sketches. "Maybe one day I'll have my own little artist." Lily grins, her eyes sparkling. "I'll make sure to draw you the best picture ever, Dad." Michael laughs softly, the sound full of warmth and affection. "I can't wait." Over time, the changes in Michael's life become more than just external. He's learning what it truly means to live. It's not about the money or the status, it's about the small moments, the connections that make life worth living. He reflects on all the times he's been told that success means having more money, more things, more power. But he's learned the truth. The richest people aren't the ones with the most stuff. They're the ones who have the most love, the most connection, the most meaningful relationships. And for Michael, that realization changes everything. He doesn't need to be a millionaire to feel successful. He just needs to be present. For Lily, for himself, and for the life they're building together. One evening, as they sit at the kitchen table, Michael looks at Lily. "Sweetie," he says, his voice full of affection. "We're richer than most people could ever be." She looks up at him, her eyes full of curiosity. "How come?" "Because we have each other," he says, his smile warm. "And that's the most important thing." Lily smiles, her face lighting up with happiness. "We're the richest, then." And in that moment, Michael realizes she's right. They are. Months pass, and the world around Michael continues to shift. The initial discomfort he felt about accepting help has long since faded, replaced by a new understanding of what it means to lean on others. He's learned that the act of giving doesn't diminish who you are. It enhances you. It connects you to the people around you in ways he never imagined. And now, as Michael sits in a local community center, helping to organize an event for underprivileged kids, he feels something shift within him. This isn't just about receiving help anymore. It's about paying it forward. Lily is by his side, as always, helping set up a table full of snacks for the kids. She's grown so much, and every time he looks at her, he's reminded of the promise he made to give her a better life. "You sure you want to help them all, Dad?" Lily asks, looking up at him with a mischievous grin. Michael laughs, ruffling her hair. "If I can help one kid have a better day, then it's worth it." The event is a small one, but it feels monumental to Michael. It's not just about the food, the toys, or the games. It's about showing these kids they matter. It's about creating a ripple effect of kindness. As the event winds down, the kids gather around, thanking Michael and Lily for their help. A sense of fulfillment fills Michael's chest, one he's never experienced before. It's not just the success of the event, it's the legacy of kindness he's helping to create. When they get home that evening, Michael looks at Lily, her tired but happy face glowing in the soft light of their apartment. "You did great today," he says. "You made a difference." She beams up at him. "We did it together, Dad." It's been a year since Michael made the decision to accept help. Since then, everything has changed. His job has expanded. His life is no longer ruled by survival. And his relationship with Alexis has transformed from one of business to a genuine friendship, built on trust and mutual respect. But the most important change is the one he sees in himself. He no longer feels like he's fighting every day to stay afloat. He's not just surviving, he's living. For the first time in his life, he feels like he's truly been given a chance to thrive. Tonight, as he and Lily sit at the dinner table, he looks at her, her smile, her confidence. The light in her eyes, and he knows that every step he's taken, every decision he's made, has been worth it. Lily finishes her meal and looks up at him. "Dad, I was thinking, when I grow up, I want to help people like you do. I want to make a difference." Michael's heart swells. He never imagined that the lessons he's learning would be passed down to her. He always thought he was the one who had to teach her, protect her. But now, he's seeing that she's learning from him in ways he never could have expected. "You will," Michael says softly, "and I'll be right here, supporting you just like you've supported me." The morning light filters through the window, soft and golden, casting a warm glow over the apartment. Michael stands at the door, his jacket on, and his bag over his shoulder. Today is another step forward, meeting that could change everything for his career. For their future, he looks over at Lily, still getting ready for school, her laughter filling the room as she talks about her friends. For the first time, Michael feels a deep sense of peace. No matter what happens today, he knows one thing for sure. He's done what he set out to do. He's given Lily a life full of love, and he's taught her what really matters: kindness, resilience, and the importance of accepting help when you need it. "You ready?" Michael asks, walking over to her as she grabs her backpack. She smiles up at him. "Always." He pulls her into a tight hug. "I'm proud of you. You know that, right?" "I know, Dad," she says, her voice full of warmth. "I'm proud of you too." And for the first time, Michael knows that everything he's worked for has come full circle. He's not just providing for Lily's future, he's building it. With her together, the door closes behind them as they step into the world beyond. Their apartment, a world that feels a little less heavy, a little more open. Michael feels a deep sense of peace, one that's taken him years to find. The struggles of the past are still there. He'll never forget them, but he doesn't carry them the same way anymore. They're not weights holding him down. They're lessons that have shaped him into who he is today. And today, he stands with a sense of purpose. A man reborn from the ashes of his own doubts and fears as he and Lily walk down the street. Hand in hand, Michael knows that no matter what challenges come their way, they'll face them together. He's not perfect, and neither is she. But that's okay, because they have each other, and that's everything.